Hi, I'm Bro. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Crew. Today we're going to talk to Shelby.
Ow!
All right. So here we are today, another Meet the Crew video with Shelby.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here.
So let's start off and tell us about yourself.
I started costuming back in 2014, so it's been a little bit, 10 years actually. And I kind of got into the cosplay scene with some friends. I always loved Star Wars, and I was looking for something to be creative and have an outlet, and cosplaying really did that for me. So then I found a group called Saber Guild that was starting in New Jersey, and I joined that. And then I realized that there was a huge Star Wars community in the state of New Jersey, and I found the 501st and Rebel Legion, and I'm here today as a huge Star Wars nerd dressing up in costume.
Nowadays, the groups are kind of recognizable. They're all over the place. But, 10 years ago, for some of us even a little further back, there was only smaller amounts of people, smaller groups, so they weren't as easily, found.
Yes. So I found the group actually from a Facebook friend who was a cosplayer. He was in the Star Wars chapter in New York, and he had shared that there was a New Jersey chapter that was opening up. And I Googled it real quick, and I realized that it was an hour away. And I said, you know what, I'm going to take a chance. And it was on Facebook that I found it. And then that opened up finding out the other groups and seeing just how big the community is. So it all started with just a Facebook post from a friend.
Nice. You're one of our main crew members. We invite everybody that wants to just come and learn and help and make stuff here. But we do have that core group of the regulars that, mostly because they're local, and have a lot of skill and, experience to help. One of the things we're very proud of is that our members, especially our crew members, aren't just exclusive to like one fan club or whatever. Most everyone knows, the 501st was kind of the first and the biggest. Rebel Legion was basically followed right after, and but then we had, the Mandalorian Mercs, the Saber Guild, and, some of these other clubs pop up, and at least here in New Jersey, and certainly in our group, we all get along. We're like, we troop together, we come together. It's never like I'm part of this club, I'm part of that club. We're all just one big family that works together. Mm-hmm. But we really don't, sometimes we don't talk about the differences. And I know that was very involved in the Saber Guild. Can you tell us a little bit about what the Saber Guild is, in case people, because we talk about the 501st and the Rebel Legion a lot, but we don't get a chance to talk about the Saber Guild that much.
Oh, yeah. So Saber Guild, Corellia is the New Jersey chapter. And basically they solely focus on lightsaber wielding characters. So light side, dark side, doesn't matter. As long as they consistently wield a lightsaber, you can be a character and you can join Saber Guild. Another unique factor of Saber Guild is also that they do lightsaber choreography as well. So just stage combat, nothing crazy. It's not Saber Legion where they're actually swinging lightsabers at each other. Swing lightsabers in a performance for choreography purposes and for shows at local events. So that's what kind of makes Saber Guild a little bit more unique, but a lot of the costumes, though, can be used for Rebel Legion or the 501st. I think there's a Mando that holds a lightsaber as well. As long as he consistently holds a lightsaber, you can join Saber Guild.
When I first started, there was no real like training or lightsaber training or choreography, and like sometimes the libraries would want you to just do like a demonstration or teach kids, and you just here's a lightsaber swinging or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I know Lucasfilm, and Disney kind of like wanted to take control of that, and they're like, we don't want you guys training kids because you're not really, I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I know how to swing a lightsaber because I was a kid and had a stick in the backyard, but
yes.
But the Saber Guild does. You guys actually train and practice, and Disney and Lucasfilm, they recognize you guys, and they give you permission to hold trainings for libraries.
Yes, that's correct. We've done Padawan trainings, Force experience trainings. There's a bunch of names for it. But yeah, we at conventions, at libraries, for a whole bunch of events. We have kids trainings as well as adult training. So if an older person just wants to swing around a lightsaber and be awesome, we offer that as well. And yeah, Saber Guild, I guess that's one of their specialties. And we have strict guidelines that we have to follow from LFL in regards to what we can and cannot do with lightsabers, with people, with kids. There are strict guidelines that LFL has us follow.
Yeah, of course. It's all about safety.
Oh yes, safety is a number 1 priority. Make sure not to give any lightsabers away. If kids start swinging, we have to take it away immediately. Yep. There's a bunch of guidelines.
Yep.
100%.
It's still all about fun.
Yes,
so,
all about fun and looking awesome with a lightsaber.
Yes, absolutely. With all that said, obviously you have to really cool costume to do this. So tell us about like some of the costumes you've made and like what it took to make these costumes.
Oh, okay. So I have a good number of costumes. With the 501st, I have my Biker Scout, my Jawa. Rebel Legion, I also have the Jawas multi-club. I have a handful of Jedi. I have a Sith. Oh, I made Star Killer from the video games The Force Unleashed. So I made his hero exploration robes, and that was a whole entire process in ensuring accuracy, details. That was through the Rebel Legion because that's his good guy costume. That was its own process where I had to look up all the reference pictures from the game, from the art. I got the art book just to be able to reference direct images. That was such a process because I had to write up a 7-page document to the Rebel Legion to explain why their CRLs were wrong and explain like, no, this is how I made it to be more accurate to the game. And yeah, Star Killer was its own process, but I do a lot of the sewing myself. And then for any of the little greeblies, for anything I will buy directly online, or I come here, we make it from scratch here. So
no, I remember you were building that, and you didn't want to. You had the Jedi, which could technically just be a generic Jedi, and you did not want to submit that because you wanted your first official Rebel Legion costume to be the Star Killer.
Yes.
And I remember you were here so many times trying to tweak things and work on things because it's so specific.
It took so much time, and yeah, I submitted it, and they denied me, and then I came back here, tweaked it again, had to submit it again. They came back with their own response, and then I sent them a 7-page document saying, here's my references, here's my pictures, this is why I did this, and they approved, and here I am.
Yeah. So one of the things we like about our crew members are that, a lot of us have specific skills. Like we all kind of are jack of all trades. We can do a little bit of everything and we learn how to do everything. But some of us already come in with a higher skill set in a specific thing. And you were absolutely one of our first, and few like expert seamstress, tailor, like sewing person.
Well, maybe not an expert.
So, well, we'll tell some stories about that in a minute. But so how did you, like for me, my mother, when she was with us, she taught me, just how to do some basic sewing. And then I kind of just taught myself. And then I learned from you and from Alt James, who was, was another great guy. He's still in the group. He's just, not as active. How did you learn and like, what's your level, like really?
Oh yeah. So I had started back in the cosplay scene. I wanted to make a kigurumi. That was my first ever project. I got a sewing machine from Joann's, and I hunkered down and said, I'm going to learn how to do this. And I made a Baymax kigurumi. I still have it, and I still wear it to cons, actually. And then from there, it was just kind of bigger and better. Like, oh, what's the next costume I can make? Okay, you learn the next skill, essentially. Okay, somebody asked me to help, hem some pants. And then you're, oh, okay, that's how you hem a pair of pants. But then you can take that skill on to the next level of making a pair of pants from there. And then when I joined Saber Guild back in 2017, I had said my first ever meeting with them, they're like, oh, tell us a little bit about yourself. And I said, oh, I sew. I just started learning how to sew. And everybody turned their heads because it's a when you need a costume, you need to know how to sew. And people kind of were like, oh, you know how to sew. I'm like, okay. And then, so it started off with me making my first kit for myself. I made a Jedi, and then I made it again for another member of Saber Guild, and it got approved. And then people said, hey, can you make my kit? And then I learned every single Star Wars kit that I made, whether it was a Sith, a Jedi, I learned a new skill. It kept adding to my knowledge, and then people asked me to start making face characters, and then face characters have their own plethora of rules, each little unique things that you have to pay attention to, and I learned more and more, and then I joined the crew here, and then it was like, oh, okay, more costumes with more, different pleats, different seams, different fabrics. The amount of fabric on some of these kits is absolutely insane, but yeah, it's just little by little over the years.
It's all self-taught.
Yeah, it's all self-taught, and I'm a YouTube, look it up on YouTube and visual learner, I guess. And
we are a perfect fit here because you also follow that Brodustrial, like, can you do this? Yeah, of course I can.
Of course.
And
I've never
you just
done this
start
before.
doing it before you start doing it, right? Dave tells that story all the time. Do you want to tell it with the flight suit?
Absolutely, yes. Because I've never worked on a full flight suit. I've taken in arms, I've taken in all this stuff. So Dave came to me and said, I need to take in my flight suit for his X-wing. He had just gotten a new one, and he very graciously gave me his old flight suit. I said, oh, I can take it in for you, no problem. And I think that was like the first or second time I was here.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah.
And
I started seam ripping, and I started taking the arms off, and that was such a process, and I had it all laid out, and we were both staring out at it, like, on the ground. And then I said, I've never done this before. I've never taken apart a flight suit before. And Dave's face was just like,
so
what? You just took apart my entire, you took apart my flight suit and you've never done this. And listen, it all turned out, I put it back together.
The Brodustrial way. You figured it out as you were doing it.
I figured it out. And
he's approved, and he's probably wearing it next weekend. So,
excellent.
So
yeah.
it works.
See? No harm, no foul.
But you also teach some of us things, because the infamous, fabric scissor stories, when you came here and you're like, hey, where's your fabric scissors? And I'm like, and you're like, you were just cutting Velcro with that. I'm like, yeah, but it also cuts fabric.
And plastic.
Yeah, but I'm like, it'll cut fabric. And you're like, no, that's...
The cringe.
Yeah, there's fabric scissors. You had to explain to me what fabric scissors are only for cutting fabric.
Yes, correct.
And so that was something that I resisted, but eventually have embraced.
Yes.
And I do have my pair of fabric scissors now.
That's all I need. That's all I need. And the thread cutter on the side of the sewing machine.
Yes.
You guys were...
Oh my God, that was... we had no idea. I'd been sewing for like 15 years, and I didn't know that there was a little notch on the end that you could just cut that off. Me and Dave watched you. I'm like, whoa, wait, do that again? That's pretty awesome.
And sewing with the shoes on.
Yes, yeah, you and Stephanie are able to sew with your shoes on because you are that higher level.
Yeah.
The rest of us need to feel that pedal.
Oh yes, I've sewed on the floor before at conventions. I will admit it. The con crunch is very real. So
what's your favorite thing about trooping? Like, what are your favorite events?
Oh my goodness. So trooping to me is just one of those things. You can't even explain that feeling that you get when, especially as a female, when you see that little girl light up from across the event and they lock eyes with you, because most of the people are guys, and that's fine, but they lock eyes with, they're like, there's a girl, and they come running straight to you. They don't care about anybody else, and that moment is so hard to explain to people. That's definitely one of my, like, when I go out to a troop, those hit hard. They hit hard, and it's such an awesome feeling. Bringing smiles to people's faces.
Yeah,
it's just,
that's what it's all about.
Like, my favorite troops is just when you go out there and you just...
They're all fun.
You interact with people, like, and you're bringing in a little spark of joy and happiness and unique experiences to an event that you wouldn't normally, like, when you get to see Star Wars characters.
Yeah, exactly. So what's next for Shelby?
Working on a temple guard. Hopefully we'll get that done after 5 years on the shelf. And then also I want to actually remake my Sith for Saber Guild. Because I don't know if my Sith is the white hair.
Yeah, no, I know very well. Yeah, I love it.
I want to kind of remake the kit for that one. Keep the white hair, keep that shock factor, but redo my Sith just a little bit, and just help people with. I've been doing commissions on the side for Saber Guild people, making Jedi and Sith, and hope to continue doing that.
Well, we definitely appreciate you being part of our crew, and we're excited that you're here and working with us.
Yes.
So let's go check in with management, see if they have anything for us.
Oh, excellent.